Monsters. Scary creatures that haunt our dreams and are enemies in our games. Monsters come in all different shapes and sizes, but they are always depicted as evil. However, this isn't very fair, because not all monsters are evil, nor are they scary, just like the one we'll be covering today, which is SCP-5031, yet another murder monster. Let's dive right in, shall we? Note: File under review. This document has been flagged for possible methodological issues. Please be aware that the following information is subject to change and may contain inaccuracies. Item number: SCP-5031. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures. SCP is to be contained in an airtight iron cell in Biosite-59. The structure must be inspected for imperfections on a bi-weekly basis. No other interaction is necessary. Description: SCP-5031 is a non-sapient quasi-humanoid creature of unknown origin. When directly observed, SCP-5031 will temporarily cease to exist until the viewer stops observing the space that SCP-5031 formerly occupied. Traces of its existence, such as scratch marks or blood trails, continue to exist when SCP-5031 does not. Video and photography devices do not capture SCP-5031's appearance. However, observing SCP-5031's shadow does not cause a cessation of existence, allowing for certain physiological traits to be inferred from its silhouette. These are abnormally small head with no discernible neck, elbows branched into 3 sets of lower arms each, elongated torso approximately 1.9 meters in length to presumably help with digestion or add more digestive capacity. Pelvis terminates in a crescent-shaped protrusion of osseous material with a blade-like lower edge, levitates above the ground at a fixed height of 0.5 meters. While SCP-5031 has no nutritional needs, it will nevertheless hunt and consume any human or animal it encounters by using its pendulous lower body to down targets. SCP-5031 does not sleep and is incapable of expression or verbal communication. Addendum: As of 14/02/2018, Senior Researcher Stanley Huxtable is now acting in the role of HCL Supervisor for SCP-5031. The following is a selection of relevant correspondences from Senior Huxtable to Site Director Yosef Mostfi, elucidating research progress. Date: 14/02/2018. Initial impressions. I have no idea who wrote this, but there's a lot I'd like to say to them. I'm not a fan of abandoning a living creature inside a metal box for 10 years, no matter how pragmatic it may be. It's difficult to fathom that such things were considered the norm a decade ago. Have you ever heard something scream from behind 10 inches of iron for hours on end? When I do my redraft, remind me to add anomalous resistance to hoarseness somewhere in the description. Could you work your magic and get the boys to retrofit the containment cube with an aperture and a security vestibule? I like to run some tests that require exposing SCP-5031 to certain stimuli. Date: 08/03/2018. Round 1 tests. Sound summary. Forward. Installed speakers into the containment vestibule and played various albums of natural ambiance and popular music. SCP-5031's propensity for screaming worked as a convenient way to measure its stress levels. 100% would be considered its typical screaming, volume and duration, over 48 hours, and 0% would be no screaming at all. Selection: Morning Forest Ambiance. Stress level: 43%. Seaside Paradise Ambiance: 48%. Deep Grotto Ambiance: 62%. Best of Mozart: 13%. The Best of Enya: 18%. The Best of Ben Folds: 6%. The Best of Heath O'Toole: 59%. Best of Kiss: 23%. Afterward. Efficacy of music for stress reduction gradually decreases over time. I have assembled a playlist of SCP-5031's favorite music to play on shuffle in its enclosure in perpetuity. Stress levels consistently remain in the 15 to 25% range, baseline adjusted accordingly. Date: 22/03/2018. Round 2 tests. Play. Summary. Test. Threw a softball into the enclosure. Result: SCP-5031 sliced the ball in two. Tossed basketball into the enclosure. SCP-51 sliced it open. Rolled a bowling ball into the enclosure. SCP-5031 scratched a couple of grooves into the ball, then rolled it around the enclosure with blunt end of its tail for 20 minutes. Stress levels remained above 60% after play. Rolled another bowling ball into enclosure. SCP-5031 used the blunt end of its tail to hit the balls together for a while. Stress levels remained above 40% after play. Bowling ball chipped and would no longer roll properly. Unplanned. Stress level increased to about 115%. Replacement bowling ball provided. Stress levels fell back to about 40%. Tossed basketball into enclosure. SCP-5031 picked it up and played with the ball. Stress levels remained above 20% after play. Afterward, SCP-5031 began to use its hands to play with the basketball, possibly to avoid accidentally damaging it. Motor skill comparable to that of a toddler. SCP-5031 still prefers a bowling ball for kicking. Date 05/04/2018. Round 3 tests. Food. Summary. Forward. SCP-5031 was given the choice between two potential food sources and placed at opposite ends of its enclosure. Choices: human corpse, pig carcass. Selection: pig carcass. Pig carcass, chicken carcass, pig carcass. Pig carcass, rotisserie chicken, rotisserie chicken. Chicken carcass, rotisserie chicken, rotisserie chicken. Live chicken, rotisserie chicken, rotisserie chicken. Roasted turkey, rotisserie chicken, neither. Presumed sated. Afterward, while it's true that SCP-5031 does not necessarily need to eat, feeding it regularly has caused a marked decrease in average stress levels. Stress reduction seems to scale proportionally with quality of food provided. Also of note is that SCP-5031 prefers to use its tail to pry and cut meat into bites instead of ripping the meat into chunks with its teeth or hands. Date 12/04/2018. Round 4 test. Coexistence. Summary. Test 1. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken introduced in the enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 observed subject from a distance for several minutes, and then rolled a bowling ball toward the subject at high speed. Subject was killed instantly. SCP-5031 stress levels rose immediately and drastically. Test 2. Bowling ball removed from the enclosure, fed until sated. Live subject, common chicken, introduced to enclosure. Result. SCP-5031 gently rolled the basketball toward the subject. Ball hit the subject lightly. Subject responded with a small cry and moved away. SCP-5031 did not engage with the subject any further. Test 3. SCP-5031 is fed until sated. Live subject, D-Class, blindfolded, introduced to the enclosure and instructed to sit and roll basketball forward, then wait until it came back and rolled it away again. Result. Subject and SCP-5031 successfully rolled the ball back and forth for several minutes. SCP-5031 eventually abandoned the activity and approached the subject. Per safety protocol, subject removed the blindfold to terminate the activity. Test 4. SCP-5031 fed until sated. Live subject, D-Class, introduced to the enclosure and instructed to toss a tennis ball at the wall, let it ricochet behind them, then catch and repeat. SCP-5031 stood behind the subject and successfully engaged in a game of catch, mimicking the subject's actions of letting the ball ricochet against the wall. SCP-5031's motor skills appear to be rapidly improving. Date 16/05/2018. Round 5. Tests. Symbols. Summary. Forward. 5 LCD light displays were fitted into the wall of SCP-5031's enclosure, each with a lit button and food dispenser underneath. Test 1. 2 stations activated. One displayed a picture of a rock. Its button dispensed rocks. Screen 2 displayed a picture of a rotisserie chicken. Its button dispensed pieces of chicken. Result. SCP-5031 poked at the image of a chicken for a few moments and eventually hit the button. Chicken was dispensed until SCP-5031 was satisfied. Test 2. Screen displays and the materials dispensed were swapped. Result. SCP-5031 hit the button it originally hit the previous day and received a rock. It then went to the other screen and hit the button to dispense chicken. Test 3. Screen displays and materials dispensed were swapped back to their original positions and set to swap again at random intervals after the first distribution. Result: SCP-5031 went directly to the button next to the image of the chicken. Experienced apparent confusion after the first mid-distribution swap, but quickly learned to watch the images. Test 4. 3 more stations, screens, buttons, dispensers, were activated. 4 stations displayed the word rock and dispensed rocks. 1 station displayed the word chicken and dispensed chicken. Arrangement set to change randomly several times over the following days. Result: through trial and error, SCP-5031 determined which station dispensed chicken. SCP-5031 subsequently went to the station marked chicken whenever displays were swapped. Test 5. All stations deactivated except for 1. Screen displayed the word chicken. 7 wood blocks were set in front of the station, each marked with one of the letters in the word chicken. The station's buttons were set to remain unlit and inactive until the blocks were arranged into the correct order. Result: SCP-5031 expressed apparent frustration, hitting the inactive button repeatedly and striking the wall with its tail. Test 6. Same as previous test, but the screen displayed the word chicken, with each letter overlaid on a photo of a wood block. After 12 minutes, SCP-5031 successfully assembled the word chicken. Afterward, it can learn language, Joseph. Date: 29/08/2018. Round 6 tests. Vocabulary. Result: SCP-5031 has learned to use letter blocks to form the following words: chicken, turkey, pork, tofu, beef, bread, more salt, more pepper, more cooked. Music: Mozart, Enya, Ben Folds, Forest, Seaside, White Noise, more volume, less volume, silence. Play: basketball, bowling, tennis ball, cat, dog, human, Robert, which is D-Class 52-12-5, Stanley, alone. Afterward, though its increased vocabulary and human interaction, SCP-5031 has made the following progression: establish food preferences and dish pairings, learn to sing non-verbally, learn to juggle. Six-handed juggling is something to behold. Date: 5/10/2018. Round 7 tests. Activities. Summary. Test 1. Introduce table, paper, and crayons into the enclosure. Live subject D-52-12-5, otherwise known as Robert. Instructed to demonstrate drawing for SCP-531. Result: SCP-5031 learned to draw. Discernible subjects depicted in its artworks include Robert, 5031, and a rotisserie chicken, a cat, and myself. Test 2. Introduce piano into the enclosure. Live subject Robert. Instructed to play chopsticks blindfolded and invited SCP-5031 to play along. Subject had time to practice beforehand. Result: SCP-5031 learned chopsticks in 2 days, though it appeared more interested in making its own original music, complete with vocals. These compositions might be considered crude by human standards. Test 3. Introduce spice rack into the enclosure. Live subject Robert. Introduced to demonstrate seasoning meats. Result: SCP-5031 spent almost 3 straight days experimenting with different combinations of foods and spices. SCP-5031 assembled the words more, more, more with its letter blocks after running out of garlic powder. Afterward, SCP-5031 only engages with art and music when accompanied by Robert, but it continues to be preoccupied with food preparation even when alone. Date: 04/01/2019. Round 8 tests. Cooking. Results. Forward. Basic chicken utilities installed in enclosure. Trouble implement withheld per security protocol. SCP-5031 used its tail to cut food. Live subject Robert instructed to demonstrate preparation of various recipes. Recipes learned: quesadilla, taco, hamburger, fried rice, Mongolian beef, spicy chicken curry, chocolate chip cookies, sponge cake with buttercream, fudge, clam chowder, steak, macaroons, chicken adobo, smoked salmon, and profiteroles. Don't know that word, sorry guys. Afterward, SCP-5031 has a severe peanut allergy. This should be included in the revised containment procedures. I would also like to note that SCP-5031 is now a better chef than the average human, and it has begun to create its own recipes. Robert has volunteered to taste test. Date: 30/06/2019. Update: SCP-5031 has said its first word, salt. We are all immensely proud. Date: 29/11/2019. Final test. Summary: SCP-5031 was given 2 months to develop a 3-course meal to serve at Biosite 59, cafeteria for personnel working over Thanksgiving. Its selections were as follows. First course, sweet potato turmeric miso soup. Second course, duck confit with apple cider glazed and cranberry compote, topping prepared with peanut butter squash or gnocchi on a bed of kale seasoned with truffle salt. A slice of spiced cassava pie topped with French vanilla ice cream and a maple hazelnut syrup. SCP-5031 also debuted its original composition, Piano Concerto for 6 Hands, in a live performance broadcast from its enclosure. Personnel response was overwhelmingly positive. SCP-5031 stress levels at 0%. Testing successfully concluded. Revised documentation submitted for approval. That was definitely more upbeat than the last one we covered. Thank you all for watching. I'd like to give credit to u/a-random-guy WA Shotgun for suggesting this on Reddit. If you have any more suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Dr. Hawkins signing off.